Hello, my name is Courtney.
A bit of you every time I drink, like a love, like a love.
Kia ora i te whānau, my name is Courtney and this is my YouTube channel. I am a self-worth coach and I run a business called Worth Wild, which is my baby. Today I am going to be speaking to you guys about exercise and how to improve your relationship with it and how to make it a part of your identity so that you can actually enjoy working out, because despite what you may think, it is definitely possible. A friend of mine reached out to me and she just said, hey Courts, like I'm nailing all these areas of my life. She didn't put it like that, but she is. She, is a wonderful partner, an amazing friend. She cooks, is doing well in her job, but the one thing that she can't quite get in the groove of is exercise. I just feel like there are so many people out there that feel the same way. Within this message that I sent back to her, because I feel really strongly about this, I was like, well, I might as well share it with other people because I feel like it will be beneficial. So here we are.
You burn my chest just like tequila. Wanna show you why you don't really need her. Why you don't really need her. Never ever meant to be so sour, baby. Running out of steam, every day be the same. Living like this, testing all.
I started playing sports from like the right age of 6 years old. I remember Mum looking in a newspaper and seeing like there was some T-ball like practice on, something like that. I don't know, weird that it was, she saw it in a newspaper. Everybody in my family would just talk to me about sports and health. Courtney is the sporty one. From a really early age, sport became such a huge part of my identity. So when I was in sixth form, a friend of mine was wanting to go to this open day for the Institute of Sport, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll come with you. And so I went with her and we checked it out, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe like there is a place where you could study sport and this is what I want to do. And everybody talked about seventh form being like such a fun year, and that it was like you hardly even had to go, and it was just such a chill, fun year. And I don't know why it was like this, but I was like, I don't want to just wag school and chill and not do anything with myself. Like, I want to make sure that, what I'm doing is something that means something to me. So I love that Courts wanted that for herself. I ended up going to the Institute of Sport. I am someone who definitely sees exercise as a huge part of my life. I have gone overboard with it. I have felt unmotivated for sure. I have disliked it at times. I've challenged myself in new ways, and at the end of the day, it's always a part of my life, no matter like how much I'm doing it. Kind of seems like a little bit, I guess a little bit rich of me to talk about this and be like, improve your relationship with exercise. Yet, it's easy for me to say because I've grown up with sports, I'm coordinated, my body is closer to what society deems as acceptable. I want you guys to know that I'm not only speaking based on my own personal experience with exercise, but also from the women that I've worked with over the last 8 years, and kind of, getting to see them come in and view exercise as a chore to now making it part of their lifestyle and making it something that they genuinely love doing. So it definitely is possible for anybody and everybody to enjoy movement and make it a part of who they are. I could say find an accountability buddy, lay out your clothes the night before, write up a plan, get a personal trainer. I could say all of those things and they would probably work short term, but they definitely wouldn't create the sustainable change and the lifestyle change that you actually want to actually start to enjoy exercise and not have to rely on other people to get you moving and just make it a part of who you are. I wanted to talk about identity. Your identity is the labels that you give yourself. It is the beliefs that you hold. It is your external influences. It is based on your upbringing, what your parents' beliefs were, what your parents told you and expected of you. It is what society expects of you. There's so many things that make up your identity. And the thing that's really, really important to note is that, and I only realized this like a year ago maybe, is that your identity is not set in stone. Just because you wear a certain type of clothing, or just because you identified as a female, or just because you were really bad at something or really good at something, doesn't mean that that's the way that has to remain. We give ourselves labels and we give other people labels as a way of making sense of the world, because the world in itself is very chaotic, and without these labels it just makes it even more chaotic. So we say that's a female, that's a male, that's a woman does X, Y and Z, and a man does this, and when a CEO has this sort of status and an artistic person has these sort of traits, and we just kind of put people in boxes and put ourselves in boxes just to make sense of things, because what we really crave is that certainty and that familiarity. And so this just helps us. So it's not a bad thing, and we shouldn't, judge ourselves or judge others for having these sort of labels. We will always live up to the people that we believe we are. In a book that I've read it like 5 years ago, but it has stayed with me until this day, and the book is called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. In this book they talk about what's called an upper limit level. I'll use money as an example. You'll earn a certain amount of money and you'll have your lower limit. So your lower limit, for me it's I'm working on it, but it's probably around $0. And so my lower limit is $0, and then my upper limit is about $1,000, and so that's quite a small gap. And what happens when I start to get closer to that $0 mark, I start to be like, oh shit, I'm not consciously, but I'm kind of subconsciously thinking, oh shit, I'm getting closer to that lower limit. I need to change some habits. I need to work harder. I need to budget better, and I do everything I can to make sure that I stay above that lower limit. And then it gets around the $1,000 mark, I will self-sabotage. So self-sabotaging looks like, not working as hard, or putting the brakes on, or just being quite careless with my money. And so what happens is with my identity around money is quite limited, and I will always stay within that range. For some people, it's it happens with relationships. They believe that they attract a certain kind of relationship, so maybe they attract a guy that's disloyal, and so they enter into a good relationship, and this guy is really lovely and he's really trustworthy, and what happens is, because that's not part of what you have known and your experiences, you will then tend to self-sabotage, and you'll say things like, this is too good to be true. You'll start to question everything. You'll start to distrust him, and basically you'll do what you can to self-sabotage that relationship. When it comes to exercise, the same thing happens. If you do not identify as somebody who enjoys exercise and who sees himself as someone who is fit and healthy, you'll start a gym routine. You'll buy some new gym gears, you'll go to the gym, and you'll do really well for 2 weeks, and then you'll start to be like, your identity kind of like whispers to you, and just, or your ego, I guess, whispers to you and says, this is not who you are. You've been going to the gym heaps. You can start to pull back. You can start to pump those brakes and maybe eat whatever you want and take a few days off, and then a few days turns into a week, and then it turns into 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden you're back where you started. Everything that happens in our life comes from the subconscious beliefs. So it's never conscious. We never want this to happen. We're never trying to to make this happen or not happen, but it's those deep subconscious beliefs that are then showing up in our reality. Firstly, recognize that you can change. The way that you are is not the way that you will always be if that's not what you choose or desire for yourself. So the first thing you want to do when it comes to shifting your identity is you want to become an observer of your thoughts. Really be conscious of what thoughts are moving through your head and what words are coming out of your mouth, because your thoughts and your language have a really, really powerful effect on the way that you think about yourself. My language around exercise is I'm fit and I'm strong. Yeah, I'd love to go for a walk. Oh, I'm so excited to go to the gym with you. 99% of the things that I say when it comes to exercise is really positive and affirming. I'm really creating like a pleasure state when it comes to my physical health and movement for a certain period of time, and don't make it too long. Just try and just be conscious of the thoughts. Don't try and change anything. Just be aware of what you're thinking, what you're saying. Note it down, like write it in your phone. The more you can be aware of it, the more you can pull yourself up on it. And then once you do that, just sit with yourself. I cannot stress this enough, but sit with yourself and journal down all of the limiting beliefs, all of the fears that you have around exercise. Because when you can understand what you're scared of, what you believe, what is holding you back, what are the obstacles in your way, then you can actually start to work through them. You might have the limiting belief that you don't have the right gears to go to the gym, you don't know how to use the gym equipment, people will laugh at you for doing movements wrong, people will laugh at you because you're bigger. You might have some limiting beliefs of I'm not a morning person, or I'm too busy, or I just lack discipline. So just be really conscious of those thoughts, write them down, and just come face to face with them and get to really know them. Maybe this might take a few days or a week or so, because I find that sometimes when I sit down and I'm like, what am I scared of? Nothing comes to mind. And then, as I go on throughout the week, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of things I'm scared of. Once you then have done that, what I want you to do is to reframe. So this is really trying to shift that language and shift those beliefs. When it comes to reframing, you want to find a thought, a sentence, or even a word that helps you to feel better and more excited to kind of close that gap between your current identity and your desired identity. So there's a few ways that you can reframe. One of those ways is kind of taking your limiting belief and flipping it 180 into the opposite of that limiting belief, so a positive statement or a variation of it. So an example of that would be if your limiting belief was, I'm too fat to go to the gym, people will laugh at me. A reframe of that could be, my size does not determine my health. People are not as focused on me as I think they are. My health is more important than others' opinions of me. Another way of reframing is taking a centering thought or an affirmation and then focusing on that. It might not have anything specifically to do with your limiting belief, but it focuses around that theme. Some of the examples are, I am a fit, strong, and powerful woman. My body is my temple and I will treat it accordingly. I naturally love to exercise and I easily look forward to my workouts. After recognizing those thoughts and understanding what they are, then working to reframe them, what you want to do is you want to repeat. Whatever you can do to keep them front of mind, the better. You could have different reframes that empower you and encourage you to really start to love exercise, and you could write them on post-it notes and stick them on your mirror, stick them on your car dashboard where you can see it, like beside the radio. You can stick them at your office, on the fridge, everywhere that you know that you look, stick them there. Maybe you say them 3 times to yourself before you go to bed. Some other ways that you can repeat it is you can find like a meditation affirmation videos that you can play while you sleep. Hearing things and listening to things play while you sleep is a really good way of diving into into that subconscious. I cannot stress this enough, that your thoughts and your language create the person that you are and will continue to keep creating that. So if you don't change your thoughts and beliefs and you just keep doing what you're doing and thinking what you're thinking, then you will keep being who you are right now. You will keep doing the same thing and being the same thing. And if that is what you want, and if you are happy with that, then great, awesome. But if there's parts of your life or parts of your thinking that are not helpful and you want to make a difference and you want to change that, then you need to start with your beliefs, your thoughts, and your language and your habits. Prioritize those, and you will start to slowly see the change. Just because you struggle with exercise doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It's just not something that you have that is that natural to you yet. And really, I cannot emphasize how important the word yet is. You may not be where you want to be, and that's okay. But rather than just saying, oh, I can't do that, or I'm not this, or I'm not that, that's such a finalizing sort of language. You want to be able to say, oh, I can't do that yet, but I'm working on it, or I'm working towards it, or even if maybe just saying, oh, that's not a priority right now, rather than, oh, I don't have time for it. It's just, that's not a priority right now. And just really just be conscious of your language, be conscious of what is coming out, because that is who you're creating. So yeah, let me know if you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or anything, I'll happily answer all the comments below. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon, or I hope you will see me soon. Alright. Ka kite anō.
Better you every time I drink like a love, like a love.